Ryan, what's something that we love?
Dishwashing.
No.
Manual dishwashing by hand.
We do love doing that, but it has something to do with funny books, man.
Horror.
Horror comic books, specifically Dynamite Comics, and an IP that is legendary, an IP that's very respected. We're talking about Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark. Volume 1 was a successful funding of an Indiegogo that Dynamite accomplished to near $97,000, and they're doing it again with volume number 2. And it's a very special thing because these have been out of print since their release in the 90s.
Yeah, that's true. This volume 1 is reprinting a lot of stuff that we just have not seen for 30 years.
Volume 2 is going to continue the stories, and ideally we get to see the entire collection get recreated into an omnibus for not just collectors, but for horror fans like us. Link in the description. This is not a sponsored post. We're just big fans of Dynamite and diehard fans of Elvira. Link in the description. There's also comic books that you can get, signed books, and other memorabilia, but grab yourself a volume 2 and pick yourself up a volume 1 and support the industry and horror legends.
We got a giveaway courtesy of Dynamite Comics, the Elvira Volume 1 Omnibus that we were just talking about. All you need to do is drop a comment down below. Let us know what your favorite horror movie is.
It'll enter you to win. Now let's get back to the show. All right, so we're talking about Chip Zdarsky. Let's get into it, yeah.
Mr. Zdarsky has recently taken over writing duties for the main Batman title over at DC Comics. And we've kind of been pretty on top. Well, I guess we did James Tynion's first story arc when he took over.
We've even covered Tom King's run. It wasn't during the time.
A lot of that was before we started too, but yeah.
But we've since then have gone back and made multiple videos about the differences in how he handled the run versus other members who have passed the torch, the cowl.
Right.
Yeah.
So it just made sense. Like Chip Zdarsky is now 2 issues into his run of Batman, so we thought we would check in and give you guys a little rundown of how things are getting started.
Yeah, I'm really hyped, man, because there's been a lot of dire situations that Bruce Wayne's been in the last few years, and we've had some like monumental stories that have been told. But the 2 issues, we're gonna talk about Batman 125 and very lightly on 126, really not at all, because you got to go and pick these comics
just
up.
Came out like 2
you can
weeks
still
ago.
get it. Go to your LCS and pick up 126. We're gonna give you a little bit spoilers of 125. So much fun. I had a hell of a time reading this, and it's not just because I'm a big fan of Chip. I know you are too.
Gigantic Chip fan, yes.
Okay, and we're gonna get into some reasons why we really like him, because he's also hilarious and he seems like a really cool person. But let's talk about his joining to the writers team here, because we have the same creative team as far as artist goes.
Right, the art team of Jorge Jimenez and Tomio Mori on pencils and colors. They did a lot of the James Tynion run.
Isn't it interesting how different this looks too? Like, for being the same run, same creative team to a degree.
Same art team anyway.
Do you suspect that there's a chance that Chip had something to do with this, because it's more dark? I feel like
you specifically told me, like, hey, let's make sure we get the new colorists info, because it's clearly a different colorist.
I thought it was a different
We knew
colorist.
It was the same penciler, but like I thought it was a different colorist too. It's a completely different tone. And if you remember during the James Tynion run on Batman,
it's like Punchline stuff,
Miracle
right?
Molly and Punchline, a lot of bright greens,
vibrant,
really cool colors. Yeah. I fell in love with Tomio Mori at that point. A very good follow on Instagram, by the way. Mm-hmm. And again, we thought this was different because the color palette here, which we're going to get into, we'll show you some of the interiors here, a little bit more muted, not as flashy and fun and exciting as it was last year.
But you know what? A little bit grounding now. I'm very glad, because once you get through this, this is the first page here, and if you're a fan of Snyder's class that he does on Substack, where he talks about writing comic books, he brings James Tynion on. He's brought Greg Capullo on. Something that is a thing that they like to go back to is the impact of a good first page, and this right here just shows it classically done. We need
to build a show. I think it'd be cool to take a bunch of different comics and examine their first pages and do like a segment on it at one point.
First page only.
Do this, don't do this.
Yeah, because
right? This is your taste. You open the book, bam, this is what you get.
I don't talk about that often, Like when I read a comic book, especially a new series, I put so much
stock and weight on that first page.
Yeah,
even the first panel, the first words, it's all very important. You gotta get hooked.
Yeah, I'm looking for the crescendo for sure. I want to see that powerful ending that makes me want to get the next issue. But the first page, and I'll even grant it the first 3 pages sometimes. We'll get to a book that did that in our reviews today. But the first page, really, if you do that well, Oh, it's just as impactful as a gotcha moment, as a reveal, you know?
I do know.
All right. Well, we have someone who is dead right now.
Which is unfortunate. I miss Alfred, by the way. He's been dead for quite a long time.
R.I.P.
Longer than I would have thought.
But who would have thought that his death would allow for some of the most innovative Batman narratives that...
And Nightwing.
And Nightwing.
Nightwing, maybe.
Hot damn.
That's like the best book DC has right now, pretty much.
So we're seeing a flashback. We're seeing the history of just like Bruce Wayne's history, the characters he's come across, and in the collection that he has amassed.
Classic Batcave shot.
Classic Batcave. We're going to be diving into the history of Batman to a degree because of decisions he made in the past.
And you do need to pay attention. This first page, you see Alfred cleaning up a little bit.
Yep.
And then there is a beep up in the top right. Kind of hard to see.
Yeah, I can zoom in.
There's a beeping up there.
That right there. That's what that matters here. Pay attention
Correct.
to these kind of things here because at the very bottom, we're going to make sure that the reader sees that. Rather, Chip will. This right here is foreshadowing what's to come, really what this whole narrative is about, which is in the past, Batman making a decision to do something that could alter the future. And we're going to be sealing the consequences of that. Because even Batman can't think of everything, even though he is traditionally the character that does. We have
This shot is so good.
a great shot that beautifully depicts the differences between the art styles being used here and from recent past.
I would like to see how this would be colored differently. You know,
Right.
It's the same penciler, same colorist, but you put a different writer on here, you tell a different story. Suddenly, you have to show the image in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
But I love this is so good. Like I want a poster of this. This is terrifying. What POV? You are a criminal about to get the worst beating of your entire life.
And I'll remind the comic fam that currently Bruce Wayne is broke.
Right.
He is doing this civilian lifestyle. And he also only has time really to be Batman now. You know, if he's just going to be himself, he's not going to parties, he's not being Bruce Wayne billionaire.
Well, they do get into that in this issue. Chip Zdarsky does bring that aspect of his life up. But yeah, he basically says, I'm not getting invited to any more swanky galas anymore because I'm broke. I'm not going to get invited to fundraisers or really, big fancy parties because no one's going to get any money from me.
The Bat family is a little worried about him because they know if he stews too much in the Dark Knight persona that he has, that he can go deep. He can go too deep.
It's happened before.
And we have our first antagonist in this story that will essentially minority report Bruce Wayne by the end of it. We will get into a little spoilers, as mentioned, for Batman 125. It's been out for a month now, over a month. Issue 126 is going to be preserved for you, comic fan, but we do have the Penguin who is threatening to kill every single person who has wealth above $5 million.
He's it's more like people who inherit wealth from their parents or something. He's got some weird kind of scheme he's announcing to, Gotham City here.
He's going to recount a bunch of people, essentially.
He's trying to gain some brownie points, I guess, in the eyes of the poor, which didn't make sense to me when I read this because Penguin is very, very famously rich.
Yeah.
He runs a nightclub.
Well, it'll make sense to you in a little bit because we'll find out shortly that this Penguin isn't actually the Penguin. But let's keep it rolling because we have a fiesta happening. We have a big gathering of a bunch of wealthy individuals, and Batman knows that Penguin is about to attack. He's going to try to kill a bunch of people. I find it curious that when the Gotham City wealthy are told, hey, there is someone who's specifically gunning for the wealthy of our city, what they choose to do is a big gala where they can all come together and kind of celebrate each other.
Get all these targets in one nice closed place.
Right.
It'll be fine.
It's just...
Nothing bad ever happens in Gotham City.
Well, and Batman knows what to expect in this situation. You having fun yet? Comic fam, are you having fun yet? We're talking about Batman getting framed. We'll find out in this issue.
I'm so glad we got this in here.
I know. We have to hit him with the ending because that sets up everything.
That whole sequence at the party was kind of...
I want to save the action scenes for the comic fan.
Sure, we don't want to show you the whole part, but basically Batman foils Penguin's plot to kill all the rich people. Penguin ends up in this hospital bed. Batman goes to visit him and figure out, what's your plan? Getting all angry at him.
That's right.
Turns out Penguin, I think he takes a cyanide pill to kill himself, and Batman is in the process of trying to save him. And then a nurse walks in at the worst possible time, which is hilarious.
Yeah, this is actually...
I'm so glad you got this picture.
It's
I laughed.
Funny. Batman's like, oh, This isn't what it looks like. This is not what it looks like.
Wake up, wake up. And then she just walks in. just that busted, like the punctuation marks over his head really seals the deal. They just scrams and bolts out the window.
That's right.
Doesn't look good. So now Batman is in trouble for, he murdered the Penguin. At least that's what it looks like.
Okay, so bringing it back here, comic fam, Bruce Wayne, he don't murder people. This is something that I think a lot of criminals kind of, this is like the part where they make Batman seem like less of a threat because they know at the end of it, he's not going to kill him. So the fact that we have someone who thinks they saw Batman murder someone, that's a big deal. And even Bruce Wayne has put measures into place of preventing himself from going that far because he himself has dabbled in the dark. So here we go.
Dabbling in the dark.
Dabbling in the dark. So what this is his fail-safe essentially.
I don't know what this is my thing.
Well, I think it's becoming pretty damn clear because we're seeing a murder take place. Rather, the Gotham thinks they've caught a murder in action.
Sure.
Batman strangling Penguin. He has gone too far. He's officially
Fleeing
started
the
killing
scene of the
people.
crime, caught red-handed. Doesn't look good.
Cobblepot is in bed. He is harmless.
Right.
He's actually dying.
Yeah.
He's about to go. So he's just going full violence now. Full on, taking him out. And that also communicates to Gotham, all right, well, Batman's actually ready to go all the way. So that has one very fascinating way to take the narrative, which is the criminals probably have more things to be scared about now than ever.
And the ramifications for this moving forward are going to be interesting if everybody now thinks Batman is, the gloves are off.
And then with the gloves being off, imagine if Batman one day lost and he said, you know what, I'm going to go full Dark Knight. I'm going to start killing people. We're going to Punisher this stuff.
Right.
Well.
And all of that is terrific setup.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to kind of pull a fast one on you and give you the 1-2 punch here at the very last page because suddenly an entirely new, different antagonist literally rises up out of nowhere and leaves you with a very, very powerful cliffhanger.
That's right. We have Batman already thinking about this before. He has to have a failsafe.
So that's what you think. Right? Did I just not pick that up? Because I got the impression that he had nothing to do with this, but maybe I'm wrong. Because it certainly looks like a Batman robot.
I think that the beeping in the beginning of the issue is a kind of a protocol measure that if something does happen where Batman does go full vigilante and start killing people, full revenge, that there is a fail-safe.
So you're saying Bruce Wayne built a Batman robot in the event that he snaps and starts killing people, and he needs to build something to take himself out in case he loses his mind later.
I could be wrong, comic fam. You gotta read the next issue of the run.
It's a brand new run. And
do it.
The way this ends, the way it sets up into the following issue, which is one of my favorite comic books I've read in a very, very, very long time. It's a fantastic. This first issue was a lot of setup, and it didn't really grab me the way I wanted. The second one completely delivered, and I am very much hooked. And I love Chip Zdarsky.
Okay, we love Chip Zdarsky so much that we actually follow him on Instagram. We've already given you a handful of Instagram pages to follow, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to give you another. Chip Zdarsky, and he's hilarious, all right? So take a look at this. We have him. He created his own Twitter.
This is his Twitter.
He changed his own Twitter
to be a fake MCU casting website.
So it literally says it's at Zdarsky, right? But the title, he has a Marvel logo instead of his face now. It's instead of his avatar. And then it says,
it's still up, by the way.
Star, MCU casting news star. So this is Chip. He's messing with people, having fun.
Being a little
right?
troll, because that's how he is.
So exclusive, Marvel's close to signing Chip Zdarsky to play Reed Richards in Fantastic Four reboot. And you know what?
It looks like him.
He kind of looks a little bit like Reed Richards, but he took it one step forward. Take a look at this.
He included a acting sample.
Yeah, this is Chip Zdarsky's casting audition tape for Reed Richards. Let's see. I want to hear in the comment section what you think. Should he be the next John Krasinski, the next Reed Richards in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Ben, Sue, I want to say Johnny, get on the rocket. Get on the fucking rocket.
Like he forgets his name. He forgets Johnny's name.
Like whatever you. Yeah, let's all go.
He's
good. Sign him, please.
How do you not like Chip? That's who's writing Batman right now, comic fam. It's a good time to be alive.
Also writing Daredevil.
That's right.
He has been writing Daredevil for years, and it's also been one of the best books being made.
All right, comic fam. Let's keep it.
Also Stillwater.
Oh, Roland. Oh, Stillwater.
Also
man.
Newburn.
Yeah. Just keep it going, man.
Book has hit $20. Let off the gas, comic fan, unless you're really gunning for some Jack Kirby goodness.
$75 cover price on this. Don't overbid. But if somebody wants it, we got it.